right, welcome back. If you caught last episode, the episode 41, I think we're on 42 now. I told you this week we're going to be talking about dating, and I'm going to just try to lay out some biblical principles and just a dad's wisdom on dating. I want you to have great relationships. I ultimately want you to have one awesome ultimate relationship walking through life and marriage, but I know many of you are far before that. And so we're just laying out some principles, biblical principles, and then the next few days are just going to be, I think, great questions to ask yourself before you get into dating relationships. And again, on the front end of this, I want to remind you, if you are a elementary, hey, I'm glad you listened to this podcast, but you have no business thinking about dating. It's just a waste of time. If you're in middle school, really, it's a waste of time. It's an absolute waste of time. I wouldn't even worry about it. But listen to this, because these are great questions to ask yourself, and they're great questions for you to push back with your friends. Even most high school dating relationships, they just fizzle and flame. They end up having a lot of ownership involved in them. They're a big waste of time. And I will also say I ended up finding my wife in my senior year of high school and started dating her there, dated through college, and was happily married to her. Now, she passed away. She went to be with Jesus. But that relationship started in late high school. And so I do know that from late high school through adulthood, a lot of us are really thinking through those things that who do you want me to be with, Lord? How do I make this decision? So I'm going to give you 4 questions today just to think through in regards to dating relationships. And I gave you the biblical principles yesterday. I'll take you back to that first one in Proverbs 4:23, it says, above all else, guard your heart, for it is the wellspring of life. And so just 4 questions regarding what is your purpose in dating. So you're listening to this, you're thinking about a dating relationship, or you're thinking about dating. And just these are 4 questions that are easy to ask, sometimes hard to be honest with ourselves. So what is your purpose in dating? Is it boredom? And I honestly think that a lot of dating relationships that I see really are about boredom. Well, I got nothing else to do, so I'll, just spend my time and energy and attention and money in this. And so you need to really ask yourself, is this something you're really ready for? Is it something that really is going to be a quality thing in your life? Or are you just bored and trying to do, have something to do? If you're bored and trying to have something to do, I encourage you to have great relationships with members of your own sex, members of the opposite sex, but don't waste your time dating because you're bored. Go out with groups, go out with people, but don't get in a committed relationship out of boredom. That's dumb. The second reason that I would ask, you need to honestly ask yourself, is it to validate your worth? So are you trying to get a dating partner, a boyfriend or a girlfriend, because you feel like everybody else does it, or like the fact that I've never had a boyfriend or I've only had a bad girlfriend, that it'll validate your worth if somebody is willing to connect with you. And I say this as somebody who, as a fool in high school, early on, had a couple of those relationships where I don't even really like this person, but everybody else seems to be able to have boyfriends and girlfriends, and I should too. And so the fact that somebody would go out with me proves that I'm worth it. Look, you're worth it, but don't use that person to validate your worth. That is not kind. It is not healthy. It is not good. And it ultimately, it's not going to help you. So if you're really trying to get into a dating relationship because you think this person will validate your worth, don't do it. The next one is kind of related to that. Your purpose in dating, is it for status? Do you think this person is going to bump you up the social ladder, or people will be impressed with you because you got with this person? Now, in high school, there's so much of it that's around looks and popularity, I know. In adult relationships, a lot of time, it seems like guys will pursue women oftentimes status-wise for looks, and women will pursue men oftentimes status-wise for money and accomplishments and stuff like that. Those are all terrible reasons to connect with somebody. Somebody can look good and be an absolute trash bag as far as their values and their likes and their personality. I don't want to call anybody a trash bag, but you know what I mean. Somebody can have a lot of accomplishments, but they can be a narcissist. They can take horrible care of people, and you don't want to do that because of status. So don't jump into a dating relationship because of boredom. Don't jump into a dating relationship to validate your worth. Don't jump into a dating relationship for status because, again, that's unkind to the other person. You are using that person, and that is a terrible foundation for a relationship. So then, final question I think today that I want to give you is, are you ready to progress towards a permanent relationship with a potential spouse? Are you ready to progress towards a permanent relationship with a potential spouse? Because if not, I really question the wisdom of dating. I don't question interacting with people of the opposite sex. I don't question doing things with people of the opposite sex, talking to them on the phone, doing things in person. I know everybody texts. I just be wise on your texts, that you not say things in text that you would never say face to face. You have to have these relationships, but if you are not remotely ready to progress towards a permanent relationship with a potential spouse, then you need to ask yourself, am I just setting myself up for a heartbreak or to break somebody else's heart? Am I just actually practicing for divorce by getting into a relationship that I know is never going to ultimately go anywhere? It's just going to be fun and pass the time now. A lot of relationships start fun and pass the time, and then people get stuck, people get trapped, people get their hearts broken. And I want to take you back to that Proverbs verse. Guard your heart with all diligence, because out of it flows the well springs of life. These are your questions for today. I'll come back tomorrow with some questions that you really need to know about yourself that are a little bit deeper. But this is plenty for today. Come back tomorrow. I got more to share.